Now, some years before now, speaking of a decade plus ago, children played games under the stars, went out, hide and seek. Adults had gists and they just sat around to discuss. Families connected on several different levels. And when you go out in public, for example, social interactions were high and there were no excuses of, oh, I'm an introvert and I have to do something on my phone, I have to distract myself. But do we see these days? People bury their heads in their devices, completely oblivious of what's happening around them, young and old altogether. Now, this trend, according to researchers, is disturbing. And in a few years, social interactions, especially in public spaces, might be totally lost. Now, stop for a minute and think about how scary that will be. This is just one of many different types of what I would like to call the time stealers. Now, without overemphasizing too early, let me introduce my guests. Joining me today, I have the honor of introducing Ayoola Babalola, a journalist in Abuja, Nigeria. Thank you, Ayoola, for joining us. Okay, we also have Jeremiah Eghrudje, a musician, presenter in Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you, Jeremiah, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that said, I have Ayoola and Jeremiah, and I would like, first of all, to know what you think about time stealers, especially, amongst the youth these days, using social media first as a case study. Let's go with Jeremiah first.
Okay, sorry, can you come again?
All right, so I'm just trying to get your perspective on what we mean when we say time stealers, especially amongst the youth. There's social media, there's relationships, there are, content creation and things like that. Are these things that consume the time of the youth? Or what comes to your mind when you hear time stealers?
Okay, so for me, I actually look at time stealers as those things that really, distract you from your goals, your plans, and things that you have actually set out for yourself. These things actually come as distractions. They come as unplanned, but sometimes they are things that you actually love to do. But at the same time, when they are not actually well planned and put out, they tend to be time stealers. You can see the same social media that has helped a lot of people, the same social media that has helped lives, helped to expand business, helped to get people jobs, change people's lives overnight. And at the same time, the same social media has helped also cause a lot of havoc. This same social media too is also, if you are not careful, a time waster, because now you can see the new. I don't know if you have noticed the new app that is out, Threads app. It's everywhere, and just within 48 hours everybody's on Thread app, everybody's pressing the phone, everybody's trying to, get into the app. It's good, to communicate. It's good to actually network, but at a point, it becomes a time waster for you, because then the time that you would have allocated to do more productive things, you would have used it to do threads, and at the end of the day, you are the one on the losing end. You can see a lot of people that spend their time on TikTok. Yeah, people can do a lot of TikTok challenge, and they actually have goals. They have aspirations. They have settings that they want to get into, but because they want to be out there on social media, it tends to be like a time waster for them, because then you can see a lot of people spending their time, doing videos, editing, just to get themselves out there. At the same time, the same energy would have been put to something much more better, and so that you get them a better effect. And these are also what we can also term and call as time wasters.
All right, thank you so much for that, Jeremiah. Ayoola, what's your take on that?
Thank you very much for having me. I would align with Jeremiah on his idea of time stealers, basically things that prevent you from accomplishing necessary goals that are very relevant to your personal development and sometimes career progression. And it's across board. I don't think it's just social media. We have them around us, as some people leave what they ought to do or what they even think they should be doing to pursue other things that they just find interesting. Or at other times, it could be spontaneous, and at other times, it could be procrastination, just things that distract you from accomplishing your goals. Could be referred to as time stealers in my own perspective.
Okay, great. Now we're still talking about social media, and one would argue that it has more benefits than it has dangers. What do you think about that, Jeremiah?
One time, please.
So I was saying that some people are of the opinion that social media, although it has its own detriments, it has more benefits than it has disadvantages. What is your take on that?
All right, so social media has a lot of benefits, trust me, because there was this viral video that went out one time that there was this guy hawking drinks on the road, and some prisoners were passing by, and they were begging him that they needed money, they needed food, and in his own compassionate state, he gave them money, he gave them drinks, gave them whatever they could have to eat. And while he was giving them, he was shedding tears, but he was feeling bad for them. At the same time, people were watching. Somebody snapped that scenario. Somebody also videoed. And overnight, people raised money for that guy. People were interested. Obi Kubana and the rest showed interest. And all of a sudden, his life changed overnight. Looking at that aspect too, people's businesses, people have had a lot of lucrative business to come around and say, okay, fine, this is what I want to do. Social media has been able to help them to reach a lot of people, change their business status quo, change their mindsets. I could be in my living room and start a food business. All I need to do is, cook and put it out there, and people all the way from Lagos Island can be ordering food from Ibadan as far as the food can get to them. People's lives, people's businesses, the tech age now is taking a new turn because of social media now. The time of coronavirus, people could actually attend church from their homes. The whole sit-at-home kind of thing affected, but people yet could actually do what they wanted to do. With social media, even as a music producer, you can work with your full team on Zoom. You can work with your full team on the different applications that help you guys to work. You don't have to see yourselves. Bankers now, there are a lot of platforms out there, and it's all thanks to social media. It's helping people to communicate and meet, and plan. So it has been a lot of help to people too.
Okay. That being said, I would like for us to go and check out what people have to say about time stealers. I mean, it's a youth-based show, so we have opinions from the youth across Africa. Let's take a look, and we'll continue the conversation. Okay, very shortly, we will take a look at that. But in the meantime, I would also like to get Ayoola's opinion on the benefits as opposed to the disadvantages of social media. Ayoola, what do you think? Ayoola, are you there? Okay, you know what? I think we'll just go straight to listening to what the... Ayoola, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm speaking, if you can hear me.
Okay, we can hear you now. So I was asking about what you think about the dangers and benefits of social media.
Yes, I was saying that according to Ifa philosophy, the world is in twos. For everything, for every concept, there is always advantages and disadvantages. And it equally applies to social media. I think social media as internet generally has eased our lives. We are in the era of fast information where you can access useful information that can help you get what you intend to do done in several areas, ranging from career or just being socially informed. At the same time, we have also seen misuse of social media in cases where people are addicted to their screens and they are so addicted that they cannot get things done outside their mobile phones. So I think that social media is very advantageous to people who know how to use it, who know how to explore the benefits in terms of seeking tools that could help them grow personally, sometimes professionally, sometimes network, social networking amongst people of like minds. So at the same time, we've also seen the disadvantages with the spread of disinformation, misuse of social media in several levels that I may not necessarily want to dive into. But yes, I completely agree with Jeremiah that social media has enormous advantages as well as disadvantages.
Okay, great. Well, now we will go and check out what the youths across Africa have to say about time stealers, and we'll continue the conversation.
Social media is actually a very powerful tool for so many reasons. As much as it is good, there are also the downsides to it. And we all know that social media, a lot of people have made money and done really great things via social media. But at the same time, if you're not careful with social media, it's going to eat out of your time. You won't know how to manage your time. You'll just find out that you're using basically most of your time on social media.
Social media has actually done more harm than good to the youth in terms of time management. Social media does not afford the youth the opportunity to manage their time effectively. As they get distracted, they get caught up on social media. When you're supposed to do some things, then you procrastinate. When you're trying to stay focused on what is happening on social media, trying to catch up with all the activities that you've missed, and then you tend to forget all the important things that you needed to do.
Obviously, we all like social media. We can't do without it. It's part of our daily life, yes. But we should all be conscious of our time. Time is money, like they say.
One of the things that is stealing time from youth nowadays is social media. It's very obvious that social media is one of the major things, and a lot of people spend quality times on social media, and trying to chase what is not real most times. Sometimes it is real, but social media is good, but it has this negative side effects.
Well, there you have it, the opinions of the youth about time stealers. Now, I still have my guests with me, Ayoola and Jeremiah, and we've talked about social media, but like I said earlier, social media is not the only time stealer that there is. So, Ayoola, let me start with you. Now, aside social media, there are other time stealers like drug abuse, like comparison, like delay in self-realization, things like that, like trying to do something that you were not originally meant to do. So amongst all of these things, what are the other time stealers that you feel can affect the youth to a great length?
You've just mentioned them. Like I said earlier, sometimes it's procrastination, and like you have rightly said, drug abuse, and we also have just being disorganized, and you sometimes, due to your background or where you came out from, we really cannot pinpoint why you are disorganized. You just know that, look, I don't do things when I'm supposed to do them. Some of us, we will not attend to things until 5 minutes to deadline. Some of us just spontaneous thoughts. You could just be seated, ready to probably write something or do something that is necessary to be done, and then you just find yourself attending to something else. Some of us have attention deficits. Some of us have defects in several areas that eventually while away our time doing things that do not contribute to our original intentions. And I think these are all could be said to be inclusive of influence of the environment, parental upbringing, personal commitment to your schedule and goals. So I think it's a broad conversation that people, have, of course, have to have diverse views about what steals time. But for me, this is pretty much what it is. Different kind of factors: procrastination, as attention deficits, drug abuse, social media, and what have you.
All right, thank you so much for that, Ayoola. Jeremiah, which one of these time stealers stand out to you, or which one do you have in mind that you think can affect the youth?
Okay, so I think I have like three of them that I see are much more pressing for the Nigerian youth today. People spend their time at home just on TV, watching movies. Some of them have seen all the series that are out. Some of them can talk to you and tell you all the episodes before you watch it. That's the time stealer. People don't know that time you are spending, somebody actually made that movie for you to watch. They are watching and the person is cashing out. So, but at the same time, if you don't watch it that much, the more of your time you spend on TV, watching movie, that time can be used into doing something very productive. Two, there are a lot of people now on a lot of betting sites, Bet Ninja, Sports Bet, these are time wasters because they waste your resources and they waste your time. At the end of the day, it's not everybody that even gets lucky. And by the time you are done with it, you have wasted your time. You have wasted your resources. And you get aggravated into so much annoyance and it will spread into your daily plan. And by the end of the day, you have done nothing. People that have the ideology of not wanting to, network, not people. There's some people that of the mindset of going out, networking. They spend their time on their phone. If it's not like as if they are, then they are the gamers too. People that play games, they can call their friends, they play game, and a lot of times these are the things that we actually push aside. But these are the things that we actually take the younger ones and they grow up to the same attitude and the same behavior. And at the end of the day, we have people in society that are not interested in doing anything much. They are all surrounded by time wasters, peer pressure, and at the end of the day, you have a whole lot of people that don't know what they are doing and don't know what to do and don't know what to proceed from where they are.
All right, so Jeremiah, do we now agree that this thing they say about the idle mind being the devil's workshop? Because we see that a lot of youths who are also preoccupied in the sense that they have, the usual jobs that they do every day, but they still find themselves just passing time. And a lot of them, there's this mental health pandemic now. A lot of them cannot stand pressure at the workplace. A lot of them cannot stand to do more than they bargain for. And sometimes what they bargain for is very little. But what I'm trying to say in essence is, so is it true that that saying applies to the youth, the saying of the idle mind is the devil's workshop, seeing how even those who work sometimes lose focus?
Yeah, so I think the issue has to
Jeremiah.
do with our generation. People now have a mindset of competence. Sorry, can you hear me?
Well, it's a struggle to
me?
hear you. There's a
Can you hear me?
There's a bit of lag.
Can you hear me now?
The audio. We can hear you now.
Okay. What was I saying? Okay, yeah. Some people with some kind of mindset now, the mindset that they have, I cannot come back myself. Usually the mindset was not like this, but some people came about to go talk of at least where you don't do it, you don't try, that kind of thing. But no, it's not supposed to be that way. You're supposed to push and keep doing whatever you're doing until you achieve what you want to get. The person that created light, he tried 99 times before finally achieving the light bulb. Now, in Nigeria today, but we try 99 times, they would have done like 3, 4 years, 5 after counseling 6, and they're done. And probably today nobody will be using light bulb. I think the problem needs to be in the mindset. Everybody needs to have a mind shift. Everybody needs to change their mentality of how they think. And because the idle mind, yes, is the devil's workshop because people are now not really putting much effort into what they are doing. They will start and they will stop halfway. It's not really easy because there's not much encouragement. Now things have changed because people are now watching. Before they encourage you, they want to see how far you can push by yourself. So then, like I said, it's just the mindset of people. This generation, they are coming up and they're having a lot of ideologies and bring a lot of quotes today in Twitter. Now you see a lot of things people are saying, and sometimes it tends to be a lie. But some people that are perceived and get to hold those things close to themselves, they're not the ones in trouble because at the end of the day, they will be on the losing side. And then their mind will not become a dwelling place for the devil to not set up full shop, a warehouse.
Right. Okay. Ayoola, now, days back, right, or years back, people believed in achieving all you can achieve early in life. I mean, a lot of people still believe that. But now there's a mixture where people now say that it is not too late to achieve whatever, which is also true in its own context. But do you think that this saying is what contributes to making the youth lazy? Because a lot of times you hear youth say things like, look, there's still time, right? No matter how old you are, you can still achieve what you want to achieve. You know, they use comparisons like someone didn't achieve something at 20, he became a CEO at 70, and things like that. So those are the mindset that a lot of people are moving with. And because of that, there's no sense of urgency in their determination for self-realization and whatnot. So do you think that this mindset makes the youth lazy?
I think it's contextual, like you rightly said. That very saying that it's not too late. In fact, in the local parlance here, they say anytime women wake up, now in the morning, you know, that anytime you are ready to do what you want to do, you pursue it. I don't think that it's necessarily the idea or the mindset behind the kind of youth populace that we have today. I think we should also give credit to Nigerian youths, to the hundreds and thousands of people who are beating the odds of their background to do beautiful things in our world. I think that we should also have a conversation around why does activities that waste time appeal to youth? Do you understand? Why would I rather spend the day scrolling social media than reading a book, than taking probably an online course or doing something that contributes to my personal development? Don't forget that we are interacting with a generation of which I'm a member myself, a generation that has been deprived of social amenities and social amenities that puts you in the psychological position to be productive. You know, imagine a young person in Nigeria today who plans to read a book. Let's say in today's plan, I have listed that I am going to read a book and thereafter go out maybe for a meeting or so. But I'm indoors all day, there is no electricity, I'm battling with terrible heat, I have chores undone, you know, that the amenities, social amenities could have contributed fairly to helping me get those things done so that I can go back to what I actually intended to do. So I think that I don't necessarily agree that statement or that dictum can be factored into this conversation where we are discussing how people would rather spend time on doing things that don't contribute to their personal development. So on whether youths, pardon me again, I think I've missed your point.
Yes.
Do you want to clarify for me? Yes.
Well, I mean, yes, to some extent, you have kind of answered it, but it's just basically saying that mindset of people saying it's not too late to achieve things, which is true on its own, but the youth are now capitalizing on that mindset that because it's not too late, I have all the time in the world to be what I want to be.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. I don't think that the youths are capitalizing on that. I've seen many people around me doing what has to be done for them to break forth. Some even, you know, as a matter of necessity, needs to break out of their social class. And I see people putting in the effort. We need to give people credit, you know. So I think that time-wasting adventures appeal to people largely because several amenities, several help, several factors that could have contributed to, you know, a disciplined pursuit of personal development is not there. To be very frank, we are talking about electricity, we are talking about social comfort, we are talking about food. Don't let us forget that we have 133 million people in multidimensional poverty in this country. You know, that our population is mostly made up of young people. So I think that people's focus are thwarted by lack of these things. And I think that while we generally have people who are just nonchalant about issues like this or about their own personal development or how to contribute positively to their world, I think there are more people who are trying. I think there are a whole lot more people who genuinely want to focus on themselves and build themselves and contribute positively to our society, but they have been denied the kind of atmosphere that makes such pursuits possible and convenient.
All right. Thank you for that, Ayoola. Now, Jeremiah, I would like to ask this question. When you think about what was done in the days or years before now, and you think about the culture as of this moment, what culture would you say that the youth need to bring back to help them stay refocused? So by culture, I'm talking about maybe reading books, maybe interacting more, connecting more instead of spending time on social media. So which of that practice would you want to see brought back to this present time to help the youth? Jeremiah, are you there?
Yeah. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, what culture can we bring back? So now, in the sense of the culture we can bring back to help with what exactly? To help with how things are right now, in the sense of what view exactly? Because I'm actually confused on which of them to pick.
But you want me to outline them?
No. I want you to just explain a little bit.
Okay, so
like,
I'm just saying, I remember saying that earlier on in the show. I mentioned that in the like centuries ago, we had our parents sitting down
Yes.
outside their houses, under the stars and just gisting. We had families connecting and
Yes.
discussing more, sitting together in the parlor, maybe watching a movie, watching something, just
Exactly.
one thing,
Yeah.
and then you had people who literally met and spent time together without any form of distraction. And then you have people who love to read books and all. And these are the things that help shape some of their practices, some of the things they even know now. Talking about Nobel laureate prize winners, you will hear them say things like, I learned how to write because I could imagine, I'll just sit down talking to people and I had this imagination. So those things are things that helped shape their existence. But now it seems like it's a different trend because it's just always about the form of distractions like social media and all. So I'm just basically saying that which of these olden days practices, let me put it that way, would you want to be brought back to this present day that you think will help the youth stay focused? Let's say, or if let me ask this way: if you could go back 10 years, what is that one thing that you would really like for the youth to experience? Jeremiah, do we have you?
Okay. Going back in time, because if you hear me, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so like I was saying, going back in time, because currently now, even my siblings, we're not all together. Everybody has, was staying over at this other side of the country, one on the other side of the country. If we can actually bring back the time where we used to have family meetings, and my dad would address everybody, talk about his experience in one thing or the other. If we have one issue that we're going through, and they say, okay, this was my experience, how I handled it, and if you guys need, a pitch towards how you are going to handle yours, this is how I did mine. We don't always have that time anymore. It's either one person is traveling somewhere, one person is on the other side of the country. Like I said, it's so we now talk through social media, but it's not the same as we all used to have that time, to sit and talk. Even if you have some that you want to plan, you have this new business, you could say, okay, I want to start this business, and everybody will have something to, tell you, have that time to run on it. Even before dinner, everybody will have a conviction, okay, fine, you can go into this, you can do this, and do that. And that is, that has helped a lot of people to actually, not like we can't really do that over the phone now, but then that had a very strong bond on family. And it actually was able to spread into work life, jobs, business, that basically. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that. Well, it's time for us to go on a short break now. And when we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Remember, you're still watching Fafanua Africa. Don't go anywhere. Thank you for staying with us on the show. It's still Fafanua Africa, and we have been talking about time stealers, especially as it pertains to the youth. I still have my guest with me, media presenter for Lagos, Nigeria, Jeremiah Eghrudje, and journalist Ayoola Babalola in Nigeria as well. Thank you, gentlemen, for still being here. Now, still continuing the conversation, Ayoola, I would like to ask you, is it understandable that there are better ways for youth to make money now. So people no longer need to put in as much efforts to get maximum results like, you know, our parents did in the past. Because most times when you ask the younger generation, they tell you that they don't need to work a 9 to 5. They don't need to put in much work. All they have to do is content creation and they'll get, you know, millions. So is it justifiable that they spend so much time on social media hoping to make a living from that instead of trying to find actual jobs?
I think that in itself is the total collapse that we are witnessing in our values as a people. I think that the culture of hard work genuinely believe that it's no longer encouraged. We have the reward system, our social reward system for endeavors. You know, we have people who just sit in the corner of their room and produce things that are virtually of no value to our societal development. And then they earn hundreds of thousands in likes and follows, you know, and then it becomes an income stream for them. I think it's condemnable. I think that people should work. I think people should, even while working, should philosophize their work and try to understand how it contributes to society, which I think it will even contribute to how well they do that work and how much effort they put into it. I think it's a very bad idea that people now say that not necessarily 9 to 5, but that people think that they can rely on content creation. By the time everybody does content creation, who is going to provide essential services? Who is going to treat us in the hospital? Who is going to, keep our society running on a day-to-day basis? So I think that in itself can be looked at from two ways. The first is that the family that we have today in Nigeria is being eroded. Family values, spending time together, properly upbringing your children, teaching them, properly raising your children, teaching them the values of hard work, honesty, diligent work, for that matter. It's very absent these days, to be honest. And sometimes this is not just the blame of parents. It is that our economic pursuits, the kind of economic system that our leaders have put in place for us, does not give room for our social development. And that is what has produced this young population that we have. Secondly, is the reward system. Our society does not reward hard work the way it should. That is why people who made good grades for themselves in schools, are given peanuts as reward. And then people who just, while not, in all honesty, talking down on reality TV shows and other medium that we have now used to, support our social well-being. While not talking down on them, we can agree that the reward system is not balanced for actual activities that contribute to our social development and just things that we do for fun or for entertainment. So I think that idea that I can be a content creator and then I can, gain popularity in itself is a deviation from the culture of hard work, not just hard work, meaningful work that we used to know.
All right, thank you for that, Ayoola. Also, I would want to find out, with the way the trend is moving, Jeremiah, what would you say that the future holds for this generation and the next? What can you picture it being like, with the whole social media thingy, distractions here and there, time stealers? What do you think the future would be like? Jeremiah, I think your
very
device
much
okay. All right, yeah, go ahead.
So can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So I said, so the future will be very much available to those who can actually be very versatile, number one. 2, very dedicated. 3, people who are not ready to just give up on the first touch of what they're doing. I've heard the word from our president, hit the ground running. Many people don't really look at that term from different perspectives. But at the same time, the people who can actually be relevant and still can still remain with all the distractions and everything around are those who can still hit the ground running every day. Now, looking at content creators, looking at different aspects of work ethic. Let me look at content creators, guys. Now, people might actually feel that they are doing this to get fame, but I'm here to actually tell you that in content creating, there is now room for income making, where people are being made ambassadors. If it's all about popularity, people would have stopped, because popularity on empty stomach, my dear, it will not take you anywhere. You're not going anywhere. You'll be stopped, because which money are you going to fund the lifestyle you're living? So now, like I said, those who will continue to do the work that they want to do, looking at those who are actually doing real-time jobs now, are those who can actually stay and keep hitting the ground running, because it's not easy dealing with the whole stress. Taking Lagos as an example, every day you have to deal with Lagos traffic going to work, you deal with Lagos traffic going back home, you deal with Lagos traffic the next day, you deal with the stress at work, you do the same hustle that you have coined to the side. You have a business, you have something else that you're doing. So at the end of the day, those who can still remain relevant are those that are going to be consistent. That is the word.
All right.
What they are doing.
Okay, those who can still stay relevant are those who will be consistent. I think that's a word of marble, or however they say it these days. Anyways, it's time for us to see reactions from social media. We want to hear what the tweeps are saying about time stealers, distractions, and social media generally. Here it goes. Now, someone says the problem with time management technique is that you only feel busier, more anxious, and somehow emptier as a result. Okay. Now, Tempest says, time is a valuable resource. Use it wisely and keep pushing forward towards your goal, even when it feels like time is against you. Okay. Another person says, time management is one key to success. Unlock your productivity potential and seize control of your day with effective time management techniques. Master the art of managing time. Master your success. Srinivas says, don't watch the clock. Do what it does. Keep going. Oh, I think I like that. Don't watch the clock. Do what it does. Keep going. The Frequency Project says, stop making excuses about having no time. Master your schedule and conquer your goals today. All right, I think those were the tweets about time management, about distractions, social media, and all that. But very shortly, Ayoola, and I think this would be for you. What role do you think that parents can play in helping these young people stay focused? You know, on the streets of Twitter and social media generally, you hear people say things like, children are now giving birth to children, because we have a lot of parents who behave like children, and so the children take after their parents' behavior. And a lot of people also say that some parents are, even though disciplined, are giving their children leeway to do whatever it is they want. So what approach do you think the parents can use to help these young people to stay focused?
I think we should understand the world that we live in today. You know, it is clearly different from the world that my parents live in. So what we can do is to manage the situation. What we can do is to introduce, and like I said, this is not just a parental thing. This has to do even more with governance. Our leaders need to understand that we have a young population, you know, a large population of the young people, and we need to engage their minds. If they have this mindset, it will reflect in the kind of policies that they make, you know, in terms of helping the family develop and giving parents more time, more freedom, and more psychological support to raise their children. What we are seeing today is that parents are caught up. They are caught up in pursuit of economic liberty, that they do not have enough time. If you live in Lagos, you wake up 5:30 a.m. to meet your resumption time at work. Some parents leave home before before their kids wake up, and they will not return until their kids have slept. So I think that generally, to preserve the family structure that supports proper child upbringing, it is very tied to the kind of society that we operate, the kind of economic freedom that we give parents, the kind of support that the government gives parents, goes a long way in preserving the family life. If we have a country where people are lost in the rat race of putting food on their table, there is no way we will not, we should not expect that will tell on, family values, children support, and stuff like that. So I think that parents can also pay more attention, get themselves learned about how to go about things these days that we have fast information and technology. Children are now smarter than their parents in several ways that you could not even possibly imagine. I think that parents need to now begin to talk to their children as not as colleagues necessarily, but as people who have brains, people who understand what they are doing, because children actually know what they are doing, right? So I think that parents need to be patient. They need to talk to their children and understand their children so that they can properly provide advice that will help the child grow. You cannot live in one generation, one world apart from your child and think that you can meaningfully contribute to that child's development. You have to come down to that child's level. You have to understand, you have to see what the child is seeing these days to understand how to help the child grow, how to help the child develop. I grew up in a home where, to be fair to my parents, my dad is not always around. My mom is at a business place morning till night, where I have the entire day. Who is going to tell me that, look, you should not go and play football from morning till night when they are not even aware? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they
I do.
don't even know what I'm doing. They don't know what I spend that time doing.
Yeah.
Even if they go and put me in school in homeless like they did to our counterparts, after school, you attend lesson. After that lesson, they employ private teachers for you. They still cannot, boldly say that is going to contribute to your psychological development in the way that it would have if you came back from school to meet your dad, and he can guide you, your parents can put you through and then tell you what to do with your time, even engage you in things that can be productive for you now and profitable for you in future.
Ayoola, apologies, I'm so sorry. Because of our time, we'll not be able to continue. But I just want to use the opportunity to say thank you so much to both my guests, Ayoola and Jeremiah, of course, for sharing your opinion on this. It's been a very conversational and insightful discussion. Thank you once again for joining me on the show.